to our fifth and final segment of I Heard God Laugh. And laughter is a big part of this final chapter.
We finally get to laughter. I've been kind of wondering, where's the laughter going to come into this?
Yeah, we'll find all about it here. So does God have a sense of humor, we might ask? I want to read you this. I really enjoyed this opening page. Modern medicine has discovered that laughter strengthens your immune system, improves mood, and diminishes pain. Laughter is a powerful form of stress relief. It burns calories, eases anxiety, reduces stress, and is a natural antidepressant. A good laugh relaxes the body, eases tension, and leaves your muscles relaxed for up to 45 minutes. Laughter stimulates your heart and increases the number of endorphins released in your brain, which creates an overall sense of well-being. When you laugh, the amount of oxygen-rich air that rushes to your lungs increases. Laughter reduces blood pressure, increases blood flow, and can help protect you from a heart attack. It increases happiness, reduces anger and other negative emotions, and increases resilience in the face of obstacles and unpleasant events. Laughter increases our energy and enthusiasm for life. People who laugh regularly are more joyful and have healthier hearts. Humor improves personal satisfaction, strengthens relationships, helps diffuse conflict, shifts our perspective, and attracts other people to us. Laughter connects us with others, makes our burdens seem lighter, and can reduce anger and conflict. It creates a sense of belonging and bonds people together. It enhances teamwork and improves productivity. Laughter and humor build trust, encourage collaboration, increase likability, draw people to listen, improve memory and retention, make arguments more persuasive, and increase learning by reducing classroom anxiety. Laughter releases serotonin, which improves focus, decision-making, problem-solving, objectivity, openness to new ideas, and overall brain power. Wow. Some really smart scientists came up with all that, huh?
Sure.
I just need to start laughing a lot more, I guess. I always appreciate a guy in class that will make everybody laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think every class in seminary's got a guy that can impersonate the teachers, you know?
Yep.
Did you have one of those?
Yeah, professional impersonators, yes.
Yeah, I mean, what a blessing to have them. Mike Morris in our class, he could impersonate all the idiosyncrasies, all the funny professors, and just get us roaring. So, I was kind of class clown growing up, but I think I kind of grew out of it a little bit once I got, I don't know what grade, but anyway, it is nice when you can laugh.
Sure. What a wise God created laughter, like all of that is a part of us. We're made in his image and likeness, and laughter is such an important part. So how does God laugh?
Yeah. So he asked, do you believe that Jesus didn't have a sense of humor? He says, I believe he had a wonderful sense of humor. And I would agree. Wouldn't you love to hear Jesus laugh? Wouldn't you love to know what made him laugh and how he made others laugh? So, this chapter is all about laughter.
Sure. Yeah. And it got me thinking, too, about laughter. I thought about Isaac. Isaac, his name means laughter. He's the son of the promise, right? Abraham and Sarah. Mm-hmm. And that kind of gets into maybe the next part where he says, I heard God laugh. The old joke. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Made me think of Abraham and Sarah a little bit. They had their plans, but God had his plans, and they laughed. They laughed as well. And Isaac, his name means laughter, but he's the child of the promise. So God delights in his children, though. And so Matthew Kelly wants to correct a little bit that phrase. God laughs at our plans. Because does God really laugh at us, or does he rather delight in us, take joy when we do tell him our plans, even if they're, way out there? It's like a child telling their father something, that they got these big ideas, these great things that they desire and they want.
You talk about God, that the father would want to help facilitate any plan a child would have, do all they can to make it happen. and that our God is the same way as
Sure.
our fathers, that God will not laugh at our plans. God wants to help us accomplish our plans and our hopes and dreams. So, yeah.
That, his joy may be in us and our joy may be complete.
Yeah.
Of course. I heard God laugh. So he talks about spending time in prayer and an experience of laughter, which can be unimaginable, if you haven't received that grace. But to grow, experience the timelessness of prayer, he had a very privileged moment growing up, just being able to spend so much time, have this carefree timelessness that we talked about last time. And so he spent long hours in prayer, and he kind of said, this might not be for everyone, but the point is not so much the time, but the quality time that you give to the Lord. Mm-hmm. Being there, starting the conversation, giving yourself to prayer, not just doing prayer, not just checking off the list, mm-hmm. but spending that quality time. And things begin to happen. And he talks about on page 95, until now, I've never mentioned this to a soul because of all the questions you probably have in your mind right now. What was it like? What did it sound like? What do you mean when you say you heard God laugh? Did you hear it in your heart or mind, or did you hear it a clear and audible laugh out loud? What does God's laughter sound like? It sounds like a smile of a newborn baby. It sounds like a bird flying high in the sky. It sounds like the anticipation of a first kiss. It sounds like a new beginning, a fresh start, the morning breeze. It sounds like the love of the most amazing father you could ever imagine. It sounds like a long drink of cold water after a day in the scorching sun. It sounds like the beach and the mountains. It sounds like the roar of a lion and the gentle touch of a mother as her child rests. When God laughs, all your senses become one, and your whole being radiates joy from the depths of your soul. Wouldn't you like to hear God laugh after something like that?
A lot of great images there. Precious things we can all relate to.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a nice way to describe it, very broad sense without narrowing it down. That can be, laughter can be a different thing for every person as well. It's hard to just capture it in any one phrase, but lots of things contained there.
It's not something that can be forced. It's something that just springs up out of that time together. So.
Yeah. I like what he says about on page 96. I wonder where I would be today if someone had not taught me how to pray. He looks back on those teenage years when he spent a lot of hours, as you said, in prayer. And it was an amazing time in his life, obviously giving him that foundation for the rest of his career. And he says at this point he's not called to pray as much as he used to when he was young and more carefree with timelessness. Reminded me when I was in the seminary, or not seminary, in college, we would have all-night adoration, and a few times I spent 3 hours or so in the church, and that really, I wasn't thinking of going to seminary or anything like that, but it was precious time as well. And I'm so glad that the humanities group kind of organized that kind of thing to give me an opportunity to do that.
Nice.
So the deep waters that Matthew Kelly, page 97, begins to talk about, just give you a little taste of that. It says, the world will serve you an endless supply of shallow and superficial options for every aspect of your life, but none of these will satisfy your soul. The culture prefers to keep people unthinking, unconscious, unaware, and unavailable to God, because people in this state are easily manipulated. But the spiritual life is a constant invitation to go beyond the shallow and superficial offerings of this world and seek out the deep places. It talks about the story in the gospel where Jesus with the fishermen on the shore, and he says, cast out into the deep waters. And he said, we've been at it all night long. We've caught nothing, but with their hearing him, the voice of God, their obedience, they did so, and their nets were full to the point of breaking. So to impress that, obedience to God and going deeper into waters or into relationship with God is oftentimes, where we find that abundance. And it's a question of trust. Sure. It's a question of obedience, a test of faith. They had all the reason not to, but they did. And it was what they catch, 153 fish. So a great catch.
Sure.
So then he says, in the spiritual life, we're continually invited into deeper places, even as the world seems to be luring us into ever shallower experience of life and each other. So, to not be afraid to go there and to follow the Lord. And, it's sometimes it can be counterintuitive. It can be countercultural, to go up and spend an hour in prayer, come to Eucharistic adoration, or just even, pray the rosary every day at home. But the blessings it can bring from entering into the deep waters of our spiritual life.
Yeah, it really spoke to me comparing it to kind of the action of being on any sort of social media is the action of, just swiping up. And it's an endless stream of shallow things. They're fun. Some of them are fine. They're good in their own right, but probably shallow. You don't spend too much time on each thing before you're done with it. But the action of God is one thing, and go into it deeper and deeper and deeper, and draws you in. And so to recapture that ability, that skill, to be able to stick with one thing and just go into it, go deeper into it, and not just always be going on to the next thing. Go in, go all in, into the deep, cast out into the deep.
All right, just going into 2 or 3 verses of scripture.
Yeah.
For your meditation, that's it. And, you can read through a lot of scriptures, chapters, but really all I need is a phrase from God, and just allow the Lord to give you a word or give you a sentiment or a thought or an image.
A meme.
That really
just one meme.
Fills your cup, and it fills your net. And that's what all the Lord wants.
I loved how he said on 99 that we might be yearning for a great catch in something in our life as well. The Lord wants us to make that catch. Maybe yearning for a great catch in your marriage, maybe yearning for a great catch in the area of health, personal finances, career, yearning for a baby, overcome an addiction, or to belong to a more dynamic community. So whatever you're yearning for, it's good. Often seems impossible with all of our human efforts, and yet divine intervention is what we're waiting for. So to set out into the deep where that can happen. And finally, the delight of God. So God delights in one thing above all else. His delight teaches us some very powerful lessons. He delights in his children, in his Son, Jesus Christ, and in us who have been baptized into him. So he goes through sort of the experience of a father, seeing his little one Isabel and having his heart moved for her, and seeing her emotions, her concerns in her face and her words. And so that experience, those kinds of experiences can help us in prayer as well. And I don't think we should discount the conversations we have with one another, how we try to learn what's going on inside their mind. We ask questions, we want to know what's going on. Same with the Lord.
He was very present to his daughter, He knew that she wanted to talk, and so he sat down to the couch by her and just started asking, how are you, baby? And, 8-year-old, she just started open up, and she had a lot to say, and he had a lot of time to listen. And he ended up just wrapping his arms around her and hugging her and just being with her, cuddling. And he felt like he was the luckiest man in the world, you know, to have a daughter and just to be present to her and be there when she wanted to talk. You know, it's kind of nice analogy with prayer as well.
Yeah, there's time to talk, but then there's also just time to spend not talking, but together. Wordless timelessness. It reminded me of the story of St. John Vianney. There was a very prayerful farmer that would come into the back of church and pray for a long time. And one time he kind of got up the courage to ask him, you know, what do you pray about? And he said, well, I just look at him and he looks at me. So sometimes that's all we need. Just look at the Lord and let him look at you. Spend that quiet time together as well.
Then the next section is about busyness. Busy is not your friend. You have to ask ourselves, is my life working? You know, to kind of step back. Once again, the pandemic has been a good opportunity, I think, for a lot of people to do that. But you know, is being too busy part of your problem? Busy is not your friend. It makes us feel overwhelmed, tired, and inadequate. If busy were a person, you would spend all day with that person today and all day with that person again tomorrow. So busy is not your friend. This is a lesson Matt Kelly says that he's learned too many times in his life. I fall into the common trap of overscheduling, overcommitting myself, and it usually happens when I'm neglecting my daily habit of prayer. So he says, being overwhelmed is one of the most common feelings people experience today. When asked what one word would you use to describe how you feel on a daily basis, too many people say overwhelmed. So I never liked that word busy. You know, a lot of us priests, you know, well, how you been? Oh, busy, real busy. Just been so busy all week, all day, all month. You know, it's like, well, what are you busy doing? You know, what are you watching TV? Are you on social media? Are you praying all day long? Are you on the phone? You know, I mean, okay, you know, we have to have time to live, to breathe, obviously to pray. We have to have time for people that come into our presence and want to see us. And so I think the pandemic has been a chance to reset for a lot of people, dial back the busyness. And I know it has been for me. He says, so it's not just that we're busy, but that we're busy with wrong things. When we're busy with the right things, we're less likely to feel overwhelmed, and we can push through that for a short period, knowing that we're doing the right thing for right reasons. Busyness may be the main obstacle between God and his people in the modern world. The devil likes us to think that the main obstacle between us and God are all types of spectacular sins, but the devil prefers the unstated daily distraction of busy. So I fall into this trap too, of thinking I'm busy, too busy. I'm kind of like Martha. You know, I just soon do the dishes and do all the desk work and get all my work and everything I see on my desk all cleared off, and then all of a sudden it's 10 at night. I've been too busy to have that quality prayer time. But he's trying to get us to break away from that habit. We know that exhaustion that comes from doing a lot of things, doing lots of nothing important. This exhaustion is heavy and draining. It is the exhaustion of the weary, and God did not create us to be weary. Are you weary, tired, burned out, worn out, overwhelmed? The bad fruit of busy just keeps piling up. Busy leads to overwhelmed. Overwhelmed leads to weary. Weary leads to discouraged. Discouraged is another sure sign that God is far from your plans. And yet it is also among the most common emotions in society today. So basically trying to prioritize, trying to not, get on the treadmill of just being busy, but probably to, what's he say here? Oh, prayer is the antidote for the poison of busyness. To have a daily habit of prayer, have the prayer process. It is by establishing a habit of daily prayer that we get clear what matters most and what matters least. It helps us gradually discover who we are and the meaning and purpose of our lives. Prayer inspires us to live with great intention and avoid wasting our lives. Busy drags our lives out of focus. Prayer brings our lives into focus.
There you go. Well, I hope this book has been a chance to increase your desire for prayer and maybe increase your knowledge of how do I begin to pray, and give you a roadmap of what might you encounter along the way. And so thank you for joining us at our Fireside. I think we'll end just by reading the last little epilogue poem that he has for us. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It is the laughter of Rachel, Esther, Delilah, and Ruth. It is David and Solomon laughing from deep in their bellies. It is Jesus and his disciples laughing on the road from Jericho to Jerusalem. It is Joseph laughing for joy when he discovered the golden nature of his dreams. That sound you hear, it's the laughter of your unborn child. It's your great-great-granddaughter laughing 100 years from now. It's your own unrestrained and unedited laugh set free for all to hear. It is the laugh of 107 billion people, the laugh of 40,000 years, the laugh of eternity. Listen carefully to life and closely to your heart, and you will hear God laugh. Sing with him, dance with him, laugh with him, cry with him, and love with him. Everything is better with him.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. God bless you all.